So here's my 1993 Daihatsu Hijet. It's an S83P model. And I put a 25 by 8 inch tire on it. I did have to do some trimming on the doors to make them work. And these are Tusk Terabytes. It's supposed to be a DOT rated tire. So I had to trim here in the door. I used to have this lip all the way down. And I also had to trim into this portion of it a little bit to also help clear the tire. And I just notched this out and went on. That was all I was doing. I didn't want to get into the cab. So that's how I got that taken care of. The other thing was lifting it up another inch to clear them. And that made it where it no longer rubs all the time. And I achieved that with the coil springs. So that made the ride a whole lot better just with the coil springs alone, due to the fact that I don't bottom out all the time. So they're a 375 pound rating, that's what they are, and they're a progressive rate, and the other spec is 220 pounds. So pretty good springs. I like them so far. The wheels are a 12 inch by 7. They're ITP deltas. They're 4+3 offset, and the bolt pattern is 110, and they're 4 bolt. So they work. Got no complaints. They're just cheap wheels to fit the tires. That's the only reason why I bought them, was so I'll have a wider wheel to fit the tire. I think the stock ones were like 3.5 inch wide, if I remember right, maybe 4. I don't know. It's been quite a while since I messed with them, so I don't exactly remember what they were. I just know they were very skinny. So yeah. Did put an air filter on it, so you do get to listen to that going down the road. I also added a side marker in the rear just to help light it up a little bit. That's what these are. They're a side marker, and it's red. Thought about adding one here just to light it up a little bit more. Did put a 2-inch ball in the back where I could move around some trailers around the house. So that was pretty nice. I also started wiring up lights and stuff on this thing. And well, I started running the wires anyways. I got one light installed but not hooked up, as for my rear cargo light. And that will be the only light on that circuit. So the interior, one of the very first things I did to it was this radio. After I got to driving it around and stuff. So the radio, I just wanted a Bluetooth. That's really all it was. And I did eventually figure out the wiring for the cigarette lighter was there, so I installed that 12-volt socket out of the other mini truck into here, which was just a matter of changing out this bezel. Wasn't that hard. The second thing I did was that tack over there, just see what my RPMs were with stock tires and see what the differences are, but that will be another video. Switches, got a winch switch for a future winch. Then all the switches over here for lights. The bottom two are auxiliary switches, which can be used for whatever. They will be going to a plug on one of the sides of the pickup. So, and the relays for those two switches are below the passenger seat. The top 3 switches over there are for lights as their purpose. The one on the left will be for this light here, and the other 2 will be probably the middle one there, which it's called side lights. So there'll probably be some lights that will shine off to the side, and possibly one to the rear if we want a big light bar for the rear. But my big thing is I just want that one on the rear light switch, so if we're in town or something, get something, we can just shine up the bed and kind of a little bit of surrounding area, not shine, everywhere. Lane people don't want to do that. So kind of the purpose there. And of course I ran a wiring into the cab for all that stuff, so it goes from here into a 100 amp breaker. That is 6 gauge wire into the cab to a stud, This is where my winch will tie into so as it gets installed. And so that, of course, continues on 6-gauge wire up to this fuse block. And so this will pretty much send power to the relays and everything as a purpose of it. So I only have 2 relays installed for the 3 switches so far. I ran out of them. I just need to get one more and run the wiring for it, but that's what these 2 wires are for. The next one will be below it, of course. Then I have the constant power wire for the radio that comes over here, and also the power wire for the key on switch, which goes through a relay here and into another fuse block back here. If you want to look at it, there it is. So that's the way it all sets up. And the purpose of the key on fuse block is to power up the switches and stuff with the key. So that way they're not on all the time and they are backlit and everything. So that is one nice thing about those switches. If you don't know, these things do have vents on both sides here. They are handy during the summer. So yeah, I'll make sure I move my computer back over. But I'm just running a lawnmower battery on it. Seems to be doing okay. That's a 350 cold cranking amp. Seems to work. But yeah, that's the mini truck. So still running the aftermarket carburetor. Works pretty good. And of course got the choke and everything hooked up. Now the choke, diff lock, and all that stuff. Of course, 4-wheel drive is right here. That's 4-wheel drive. And yeah, the Suzuki's have an axle lock, but that one's built into that one button, unlike the Suzuki's. So that is one of the handy things. But yeah, also the brake reservoirs here, if you didn't know. So anyways, that's the mini truck as of February 1st, 2024. So if you got some questions on it, throw them in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. See ya.